Hello my fellow gamer, it's Griffin here and welcome to chapter 5. In this video we'll defeat Godrick the Grafted, main boss in Limgrave, and we'll discover most of the items in this area. We have a lot to cover, so let's dive in. To quickly recap, in previous chapters we've leveled up our character to plus 40, we've got Great Star's weapon and upgraded to level 19, we've got the 3 Sentinel armor set and other important items like Radagon Sword Seal, the Lantern, Bloodflame Blade and Poison Mist incantations, and we've discovered the maps and important sites of grace in areas we've wanted. Now, before we'll go into the Stormveil Castle to crush the first main boss, let's practice a bit against different mini-bosses in the area to get used to the moveset, Ash of War's attack animation, timing, dodging, and in doing so to gain a bit more XP and gather new items along the way. At this stage, the 3 Sentinel is no match, although it's important to pay attention to its moveset, stop attacking and dodge its well-telegraphed attacks, and initiate our own attack right after enemy's attack animation finishes. If this will take you a few tries, it's absolutely okay. It's all about practice, understanding timing, and visual clues regarding enemy's attack. Okay, now that's done, let's travel to Agil Lake South site of Grace, and after a short distance we'll arrive to the location where we can fight and defeat Bloodhound's Knight Darrywil. Once defeated, it will drop Bloodhound's Fang, an amazing strength dex weapon that really shines in a quality build. Has blood loss natively and also very effective and powerful Ash of War in Bloodhound's Finesse. Requires Smithing Stones to upgrade. From here we'll travel to War Master Shack, and I marked on the map the location for the next site of grace. Now we'll turn back, and here we'll jump on the right to reach a higher ground, and very close on the left is the entrance for Death-Touched Catacombs. On our way to push the lever that would open the door to the boss of these catacombs, we'll pick up Uchikitana, a very good weapon that the samurai class starts with. Feel free to fight these skeletons, but my suggestion is to skip them, as they don't offer too many runes, but they will take a while to defeat, not because they're very powerful, but because they revive and we need to wait for that to happen and to hit them again in the revival animation stage. This adds significant time. Fighting this boss is a very easy challenge, and we'll get Death Root as a reward and the Assassin Crimson Dagger that, if equipped, will cause critical attacks to restore 10% of life plus an additional 85 life. From here we'll travel a short distance to pick up Len's Talisman that, if equipped, will increase attack damage while on horseback by about 15%. From here we'll travel back to St. Bridge Sites of Grace. From this merchant, we are going to buy one cracked pot and some recipe books. While interacting with a merchant, I prefer to buy the recipe books that they have for sale, as they unlock new crafting options, and if we like to collect all recipe books, we don't have to come back in the future. Once we've discovered the site of grace, we'll go back on Torrent and very soon we'll encounter a Tibia Marina. That, once defeated, will drop another Death Root and Skeleton Militiamen Ashes. Very close by there is a sealed entrance guarded by an imp statue. Once we'll use a stone sword key, we'll gain access inside and we'll find the green turtle talisman that, if equipped, will boost stamina recovery speed. Now we'll travel to the smoldering church, and after we'll defeat Anastasia, Tarnished Eater, we'll get rewarded with Sacred Scorpion Charm, and we'll discover the next site of grace. Sacred Scorpion Charm, if equipped, will boost holy damage by about 12%, but our character will take 10% increased physical damage. Now we'll travel to Akil Lake North site of grace to level up first and then to fight the flying dragon Argyle. Every time we defeat a major dragon, we'll get a dragon heart and a dragon power that we can claim at a Cathedral of Dragon Communion. In Limgrave there is a Church of Dragon Communion where we can claim only few dragon powers that we'll discover in this video a bit later. There is one Cathedral of Dragon Communion in Caelid and one in Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. Now we'll travel to Limgrave tunnels, and after we'll defeat the boss of the tunnels, we'll get the Roar medallion. As soon as we reach this second lift, we'll turn our character 180 degrees, as we need to jump on this platform, otherwise the lift will take us to the levels below. From here we keep running and we'll take the third lift down. The boss room is right in front and it's a very easy fight. We're missing about 2000 runes to be able to level up before we'll go to Stormvale Castle to fight the main first boss. We'll travel to Warmaster's shack, and behind the shack are very few giant trolls that once defeated will give about 1000 runes each. Now we can level up and we can allocate more points into Vigor.
In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
This first main boss likes to attack first and we'll let it do just that, but we'll dodge its attacks. After that, it's our turn. Yeah, Margit the Fell Omen is no match for our character. The reason we spent 3.5 hours leveling up in the previous chapters was to be able to do just that. Crush the boss like was nothing. Next major boss is Godrick the Grafted, and we'll encounter it soon. In the meantime, we'll level up a bit more and we'll allocate more points into Vigor, and from here we'll continue our journey. Here we need to be a bit careful, as these enemies are throwing fire pots at these explosive barrels that can do significant fire damage. In this next room we can find the key for the locked door, but there is also a banished knight inside, so we need to be prepared. Once that's done, we'll find a key and a curved sword talisman that, if equipped, will increase guard counter damage by 20%. Very important to note, on the right in the next room there is a site of grace. Feel free to discover it now. I forgot to do that, and I'll need to teleport soon to a previous location and redo this last section. Immediately on the right there is a warhawk, and if we are swift enough, we'll defeat it before we'll have a chance to attack. Now, after defeating these enemies, we'll take the ladder up and we'll get the Claw Talisman. We travel quickly to Castle Morn Rampart side of Grace to purchase cookery knives that will be useful for the next section. While here, we'll purchase the cracked pot that the merchant has for sale, and we'll also buy about 30 cookery knives. These warhawks can be tricky, especially if all three of them will attack at once. Now that's done, soon we'll meet Sorcerer Roger that sells few Ashes of War that can be useful for a character specialized in magic, cold damage and intelligence stat. From here we can go forward, but on the right there is a detour that will allow us to discover a few more items. There is a grafted scion enemy at the level below, and we can start the fight with a jump attack. From here we can pick up the Highland Axe and we can unlock the shortcut that will allow us quicker access to the previous Site of Grace. On the left, in the next room, there is another imp statue, and we can break its seal by using another stone sword key. Once we'll defeat these enemies inside, we'll find Misericord Dagger and also the Iron Wet Blade that will give our character access to heavy, keen and quality affinities. A very useful item. From here we turn left, and as soon as we reach the courtyard we'll turn 180 degrees, but this time we'll go through this small entrance. Once we'll use another stone sword key here to break the seal, we'll discover Godslayer's Seal and Godskin Prayer Book. For a character specialized in faith stat, these items are absolutely amazing, especially so early in the game. Once we defeat these enemies, we can push the lever to open the main gate, and there is another site of grace nearby. A word of advice: do not rest now at this site of grace, just discover it, otherwise the enemies operating the ballistae will respawn. We go back to the courtyard, defeat these enemies, and we'll go past the Lion Guardian and we'll discover the next site of grace. We'll return at this site of grace once we'll defeat Godrick the Grafted, and we'll get its great rune, because the path forward will take us to the tower where we can activate it. Now we'll go back to Rampart Tower site of grace, take the lift down to reach the courtyard area, defeat these enemies, and we'll proceed to discover the next site of grace. Nearby there is a painting that we can discover as well. There are 10 paintings in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree, and we'll discover all of them in future chapters. Here there is a side area with few items to discover, most notably Rancor Call Sorcery, a stone key, a golden seed after we'll fight and defeat the spirit tree, and also Prince of Death Posture that if equipped will raise vitality by 90 and also will increase resistance to Death Blight. From here there is a ladder in front of our character, but we'll teleport to lift side chamber side of grace. We'll level up again by allocating another point into vigor, and we'll take the lift, and after we'll defeat these enemies we'll pick up 2 cracked pots. We'll defeat the shiny scarab to get Stormcaller Ash of War, and very close by is the next Site of Grace. Before we'll fight the boss, we'll go and talk to Nepheli Loux, an important NPC in our Elden Ring journey, and once we'll complete her questline in future chapters, we'll get rewarded with an ancient dragon smithing stone. An additional ancient dragon smithing stone will be sold by gatekeeper Gostok for 20,000 runes after we've completed Nepheli Loux's questline and if he was not killed in our quest in the castle.
I'm here by how this grafting is tainted them. If I ask you, the winds run, I'm certain. As fellow down, whatever.
Now it's time to crush the boss of Stormvale Castle, Godrick the Grafted. We can summon Nepheli Loux for the fight, but that will increase boss's life. This fight has two stages. In the first stage, Godrick the Grafted will use its axe and the attack is well telegraphed. In the second stage, he will be using his dragon powers and also few attack combos. It won't have time to perform almost any of that, as in the second stage the fight will be over in seconds. Now that's done, we'll rest at the Site of Grace, and we'll notice that this time Goston the Gatekeeper is nearby.
What a pathetic excuse for a lord you were. Oh, he got what I tell you though.
We'll exhaust his dialogue and we'll purchase from him the Buckler, a small shield that is very efficient in parrying certain enemies' attacks. A quick side note, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and please subscribe. It will help the channel a lot and it would be much appreciated. Now, coming back to the guide, we'll exit the castle, but on our way out, we'll pick up a Shabriri grape that we'll offer to Hyetta, an NPC we'll meet very soon. We'll follow and complete her questline in future chapters, and as a reward we'll get Frenzied Flame Seal that buffs Frenzied Flame incantations while equipped by 20% or by 44% if we would have two of them equipped, one in each hand. Now we'll level up 2 more levels by allocating 2 more points into Vigor. Since we've defeated Margit the Fell Omen, we've unlocked another talisman slot, but I forgot to equip an additional one. No worries, we'll equip it now. From all the talismans we've found so far, I think the Claw talisman that boosts jump attack damage or the Axe talisman that increases charge attack damage are the ones to consider. I'll equip the Claw talisman for now. We'll travel to Limgrave Tower Bridge, Site of Grace, turn back a bit to defeat the Lion Guardian we've avoided earlier. Now we can follow the path to activate the great rune we have received by defeating Godrick the Grafted boss. After defeating these giant golems, we can use the teleport to travel across the broken bridge and reach the tower. Once inside the tower, we'll take this massive lift up and very soon discover the site of grace at the top. From here we'll follow the path and very soon we can activate the great rune. Now we go back to Rampart Tower to collect few more items. Now we'll travel back to Stormhill Shack, site of grace. At this shack we've met Roderica NPC for the first time in previous chapters, and now at that location we'll find a golden seed. We'll rest at this site of grace one more time and we'll change the Ash of War to Stomp Upward Cut in heavy affinity, as it is more effective against the following type of enemy that the Wild Strike's Ash of War. We are going to fight a Crucible Knight, and as a reward for defeating it, we'll get aspects of the Crucible Tail incantation. Now that's done, very close by in a chest guarded by some enemies we can find Arrow's Reach Talisman that, once equipped, will increase the range of bows and few other attacks by 65%. From here we'll travel to Outer Wall Phantom Tree Site of Grace to find a very useful Ash of War, Golden Parry. We can see on our left there is a shiny scarab that we need to defeat to get the Ash of War we are looking for. We can use range attack, but if we won't succeed in one shot, we'll teleport away. Therefore, we want to make sure we get it, so we'll need to take the long way around, and once above it, we'll jump and we'll defeat it with one strike. Great, now we can travel back to Stormvale Castle to the Rampart Tower side of Grace to fight another Crucible Knight. This time though, we'll parry its attacks to showcase different effective playstyles against this type of enemy. We'll equip Golden Parry Ash of War on the buckler, the small shield we purchased from Gostock earlier. The Golden Parry Ash of War will give us a larger window of time to successfully perform the parry compared to a normal parry. At this ledge, make sure your character will drop and not jump on the platform below because the surface is quite narrow. We should initiate the parry not when the Crucible Knight lifts its sword, but as soon as it swings its sword towards our character. This type of playstyle requires a bit more practice compared to the stomp uppercut method, so feel free to find the one that best suits your playstyle. From here we'll travel to the third Church of Marika site of Grace to defeat another shiny scarab, and this time we'll get Sacred Blade Ash of War. This Ash of War is very useful against undead enemies like Knight's Cavalry, Death Birds, even Ghost Flame Dragons we'll encounter in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. Now we'll travel to Mistwood Outskirts side of Grace, and from here we'll ride a short distance to discover another painting and another site of Grace. Now we'll travel to Aegir Lake North side of Grace and make sure it's night time to be able to fight the Knight's Cavalry in this region that only spawns at night. As a reward for defeating it, we'll get the repeating thrust Ash of War. Now, while it's still night time, we'll travel to Warmaster Shack. I've already marked on the map the location where the Deathbird should spawn. Moving forward, I'm going to add the text optional on the screen if the item we are going to get is not needed for this build. Would be good to get these items anyway, as it will help getting familiarized with the area and certain item locations, and also will gain additional runes that will help with leveling up process. Now we'll travel to Saint's Bridge side of Grace, and as soon as we start crossing the bridge, there is a spirit spring on our right. We'll jump and reach the area below. From here we'll turn left and we'll find very soon the entrance to a High Road cave. We need to be extra careful in this cave, as our character can take fall damage, or if we miss the jump, can easily die. Here we'll need to carefully drop on the small platforms below to reach safely the lower levels of the cave. Very soon after we've defeated these wolves, we need to stop and turn left. Safely drop on the area below, and after defeating these bats, we'll drop again, although we cannot see the platform below. Right in front there is a gap that we need to jump over, and once we defeat these bats, it's time for a long jump. We need to make sure we have enough distance so the jump will be performed while our character is running, not walking. So while the character is running, press the jump button. That is a long jump. Now we can go straight to the boss of the cave. As a reward for defeating it, we'll get a Blue Dancer charm that, if equipped, will raise physical damage with lower equip load. From here we'll travel to Church of Ely and we'll talk to Calais to purchase the cracked pots he sells and additional recipe books.
Wait, well, you're... Goodbye. Nice to do business.
Now we'll ride to Groveside Cave, not far from here. After defeating the boss of the cave, we'll get Flame Drake Talisman that, once equipped, reduces the fire damage taken by 13%. We'll find even more powerful versions in future chapters. Now we'll travel to Agil Lake South, Site of Grace, and from here we'll travel a short distance to discover another Site of Grace. We'll take the Spirit Spring down, and very soon we'll fight a lesser Alabaster Lord that, once defeated, will drop Gravitas Ash of War. Now we'll travel to Agil Lake South, Site of Grace, and from here we'll go and pick up a Royal House Scroll and the Great Epee, a heavy thrusting sword. we'll travel back to Seaside Ruins, Site of Grace, and we ride on Torrent for a short distance, and after we jump over this ruined wall, we'll find the entrance, and once inside we can pick up Twin Blade. We'll travel to the Seaside Ruins, Site of Grace again, and this time we'll pick up the Great Axe and start Sellen's quest line. We'll find in the nearby ruins an entrance to an underground location, and after fighting the mini-boss, we'll find Sorceress Sellen and start her quest line.
I am sorry. I don't say well, but once I was exiled, I revile you still. Very well, but I refuse to participate. Young apprentice, you are a tassel now. Very well, I'll be sure to never lose.
Now we'll go to War Master Shack again, and this time we'll travel northeast to pick up Len's weapon. From here, we'll travel back to a Geel Lake North side of Grace so we can start Bock's quest line.
Oi! You there? Could you help us out, Cully?
We'll find Bock hidden in a bush nearby, and after exhausting its dialogue, we'll travel to the first step side of Grace to continue Bock's quest line. We ride to Coastal Cave and we'll find Bock here. We exhaust his dialogue again and we'll go inside of the cave to defeat the duo boss challenge. We'll get rewarded with the tailoring kit and sewing needle that will return later to Bock. Instead of teleporting back to cave's entrance, we'll continue to travel through the cave and we'll exit to the little island we could spot from the edge of mainland in Limgrave. Here we discover another site of grace and Church of Dragon Communion. At this location we can claim only few dragon powers, while at the Cathedral of Dragon Communion in Caelid we can claim the majority of them. We'll travel back to Coastal Cave site of grace to talk to Bock again. We'll offer him the tailoring tools and the sewing needle. He will be very happy to receive them and he will offer his services to us. We'll accept and rest again at the site of grace. We notice that this time is no longer at this location, and once we travel to Lake Facing Cliffs site of grace in Liurnia of the Lakes, we'll meet him there again. If you cannot find him there, rest again at this site of grace, select pass time until morning and he should be there this time. Exhaust his dialogue and we'll continue his questline in future chapters. We'll travel back to Church of Ely and from here we'll ride to Stormfoot Catacombs, located not far away. Once we've defeated the boss of the catacombs, the Erdtree Burial Watchdog will get rewarded with Noble Sorcerer Ashes. Now we'll travel to Fort Height West, Site of Grace, and this time we'll defeat the Godrick's Knight to get Bloody Slash Ash of War. Now that's done, we'll travel back to the last Site of Grace and we'll level up to allocating one more point into Vigor. From here we'll travel a short distance to a nearby merchant to buy a few more Trina's lilies.
Welcome, dear customer. Welcome. All you please. I'm hungry.
I've marked the location on the map a short distance from here, where we can find another shiny scarab that once defeated will drop Ground Slam Ash of War. Now we'll travel to a Geel Lake South Site of Grace to defeat another shiny scarab in order to get Unsheath Ash of War, quite a powerful Ash of War, mostly used by Samurai class. We'll travel back to War Master Shack Site of Grace, and I marked on the map the next location. We'll fight a mounted Godrick's Knight that, once defeated for the first time, will drop Golden Vow Ash of War. Provides a weaker boost than the spell, in this case 10%, and also the damage negation, it's only 7.5%, but I thought it would be useful to know its location. From here we'll travel back to Round Table Hold. We exhaust all dialogues with the NPCs, and now the door is open to talk to Finger Reader Inia, where we can claim remembrances of bosses we've defeated and also purchase their armor set.
Now go forth.
May the golden order shine through you. Those all the more. Well, another fellow with a proud. How do you like your inclination to have a map from the beast? What say you? Very well. I've not been locally. What is it? The map in the ability to. Ah, you're choosing. Can you believe this? Yes, it might be spending on it's on map. Just you wait over a tail. It's not so just you wait a tail.
Greetings, ye hitters. I need to go so wide and I can howling, but less can't even imagine what you should keep it in note.
Now those are the chap on the way.
From the Twin Maiden husks, we can purchase a memory stone that adds an additional memory slot, and we'll also buy a couple of stone sword keys. We'll talk to Sorcerer Rogier, and after letting it know we've defeated Godrick the Grafted, we'll get a Rogier Rapier, a very good thrusting sword, already upgraded to level 8. From the tiers we've collected so far, we can equip both halves of Crimson Crystal tier, and the Flask of Wondrous Physic will restore the entire life bar of our character when used. In future chapters we'll update this once we'll find more powerful tiers. Now we equip the Great Rune in the empty slot, and once we'll consume a Rune Arc, we'll activate Godrick's Great Rune that raises all attributes by 5. If our character dies, we'll need to use another Rune Arc to reactivate it. And this concludes the 5th chapter in our massive project, a step-by-step beginner's guide from character creation screen to defeating the last boss in Elden Ring and Shadow of the Erdtree. I hope you enjoyed this video and will return in future chapters as well. If you enjoyed it and find it useful, feel free to give it a like and please subscribe. It will help the channel a lot and it would be much appreciated. If you have any questions or suggestions about this guide, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. All the best. Bye.